So I'm Rohit. I'm an agile coach and a trainer. I come from a development background. I've spent around like 15 years in IT. Last couple of years with leaderships, kind of like organization culture, looking into that and those kind of things. So the good thing is every day I'm still learning something new. I'm here. I've got a couple of learnings from this day spent at a conference. So I guess you also have your share of learnings today here as well. Okay, talking about agility. Agility is not an option today. It has become a necessity. So it has to be, anything that we do today has to be iterative and incremental. The old waterfall model or old ways, they are not kind of like working anymore as of today. I've got a couple of questions for you. Think about your organization that you work for, and do you think they are changing as fast as the competitors you have in your market? And how about the culture for your organization? Is it supporting? Is it helping you to grow further, or is it kind of a drag on, which is just pulling you back? Just think about your organizations and if it's a yes or no or what kind of thing. So can I have a yes around here? Are you changing as fast as your competitors? Yes. Yeah? And how about the culture in your organization? Is it supporting you to move further, or is it kind of a drag, or it's pulling you back? How does it look like?
Not always.
Sorry, not always, So when the answer is no, there have been a couple of companies who were not doing very well in those fields, I've got few names up here. One of them is a Nokia. You all know about Nokia. Someone might have used it at some stage in your life, and you don't see anymore, Microsoft has kind of even trying to phase it out as well. So one which was kind of like a iconic model for every organization, we want to be like a Nokia, and it's no more anymore. Kodak, heard it, used it. Everyone must have kind of used it somewhere, But they never thought about, there'll be a wave, at a time there'll be a wave which will just sweep them away. The first digital camera was born in their laboratory. It was 1975 when a guy there come up with, that we can something which can be digitized. But the management was so engrossed with that, we want to sell prints, rolls and those kind of things only. So that is, bread and butter. If we move to the digital media, you're not going to have all these, we won't be able to sell all those print rolls and those kind of things. So that eats away our business. And they were kind of just stuck up with that and kind of just, they took them away. General Motors, they were kind of like the biggest manufacturers in US, filed their bankruptcy in 2010. They kind of tried to emulate Toyota. But what they took them from Toyota was more of, how they can run the floor, their manufacturing processes. What they didn't took from them was the culture and that how they can work together as a team. Blockbuster, the biggest DVD rental company, filed again their bankruptcy in the same year as General Motors, 2010. At one stage, everyone must have heard about Netflix, yeah? They came to Blockbusters in 2000 saying that you buy us for $50 million, and they just laughed it out. Today, they're all wiped out, and Netflix is like a $70 billion company. Barnes and Nobles, all about, brick and mortar shops around selling books and that kind of thing. Amazon took them away with a sweep of air. So what I'm trying to tell you is, you need to move and you always have to look forward, You don't have got a time to rest. So for example, we all use Grab and Uber day in and day out, They are always competitive. They are always trying to outsmart their competitor. And that is how you need to be in your organizations as well. If we don't do that, we are going to be listed here sometime sooner. So the great Deming come up with something like it is not necessary to change, The survival is not mandatory. That's your choice that you live to stay in the future, or you kind of just, be lazy with what you do today and kind of just wipe out tomorrow. Some of the big projects from the past, Obamacare, it turned up as a disaster, few billions dollar wasted, pet project for him, but what we understand from Agile is, when we ever come up with a project, we need to validate from the end users, whatever good intentions we do have about, or whatever like great we can make the product, but it definitely need to see the user. And Obamacare failed there. BBC came up with £100 million projects around digital media. It came up in 2008. They kept on working on it until 2012, and it was a big disaster for them. The CTO lost their job, and £100 million gone down the drain. So that is something that we don't want to do, and probably we need to increase our time to market so that we can validate what we are building as of today and kind of build revenue on that. So I've got a question for you. What do you think when it comes to your mind about like agile adoption and transformations? So can someone share what does agile adoption mean for them? Anyone? What do you think is agile adoption? Anyone in the room?
Adopting the processes, adopt the principles.
Okay, sure. And how about the transformations? On a bigger scale, principles, something like that? Okay. So if you think about like agile adoption is picking up few things from the umbrella up there, where you kind of trying to do something like a Scrum, XP, Kanban, trying to do TDD, BDD, and those kind of things in there, So that is more kind of adoption when you're trying to bring your tool set like, okay, the way how my team should be working. How about the transformation? Transformation is much more complex, but transformation revolves all around this. It's the people who make the transformation. So all these things up here, then they're pretty straightforward. You can always have Scrum, daily stand-ups. I can do retrospectives, review, all those things, tools, practices, methodologies. They're pretty simple to do. You can introduce to the team and they can kind of get started on it pretty soon. But the hardest part is like change the beliefs of the people, how the attitude that they bring to the table, the culture, that the organization culture, which comprises of the people. That's the hardest thing, So when we ask some certain questions with the team, who wants to change, everyone wants to change, but there's no one who wants to change, and you won't see anyone who wants to lead the change as well. So most of the transformations or things that we see around us, they're trying to do agile, They will do their daily stand-ups, they'll do their retrospectives, they'll try to do their reviews, everything, that's in the book, and they're trying to do it, but they're still not successful. What they're missing, the biggest part they're missing over there is the safety, the psychological safety that's in the team, What they're missing up here is the trust within the team. Unless you don't build a trust in the team, you're not heading anywhere. So it's these things that bring success to the team. You can all be doing all the agile practices, but what takes you to really be agile is the mindset up here, and that's going to take you to the peak. So again, there are a lot of misconceptions around people, that transformation is scaling. So transformation is not at all about scaling, It's more about establishing or bringing agile within the organization. You could have like multiple teams of size of like 5 to 10 and that kind of thing, which is spread across your breadth of your organization, So it's not about scaling at all. So it's all about, growing up agile. It's more about like mushrooming agile teams and that kind of thing. So how do you all this start in agile is like a Shuhari model, where in Shu you try to, kind of learn from the basic practices that are already there, that fits to everyone, like a Scrum model or something like that. In Ha, you kind of try to start bending those rules, and try to start asking questions, How can we optimize these kind of things, This doesn't feel very relevant to our organization, or it doesn't go very well with us. So can we kind of think about these things around and re is where you try to reinvent your own processes to make it optimized for your organization, that kind of thing. So if you look at this is a version 1 annual survey report. So if you look at the top, these are the challenges that have been experienced by the teams or organization, and the topmost challenge is always in past. This is the 11th annual survey, and if you look at all the past reports, the topmost issue or the problem that company faces is the culture, highlighted in bold. 63% of respondents answered that the culture is the biggest issue in their organization. So culture is more kind of, which has been kind of coming up from leadership. So it's more has to be dealt at the top, that how they can bring agile to the organizations. If you go further down, a couple of things, lack of experience with agile methods. So you don't have good people in there who can teach agile. So this is something, which is pretty easy to fix. If and think about other things, lack of management support, general organization resistance to change. So it's more on a broader level or kind of like a bigger dysfunctions that are just holding us up rather than techniques and practices. So it's more about the mindset that is not there to adopt agile. So we can still get all the practices, best practices and that kind of thing, but the mindset is not really changing. So that is the focus area that we need to work upon as a leadership or as a management team. Moving further, so every organization that starts with agile, they kind of come up with a lot of pushbacks all the time. I'm sure you would have seen few of these in your organizations as well. Some of them, agile means no commitment. We can do whatever time, whatever way, whatever time, and that kind of thing. We don't do any kind of a documentations around. Documentation is not mandatory. Design is kind of optional. But when you do actual agile is more disciplined. It's more systematic. So those kind of things, we need to think about that. It is more structured. It gives us structure so that we can deliver at a continuous and a sustainable pace to our customers, often and always. Do you guys see these kind of a pushback in your organizations as well? Is that something you've seen as well? Okay. So looking at like the culture or the traits of an agile organization, how do you see the agile organizations are? What do they promote? So the basic premise of an agile organization is based on a continuous learning. You always experiment with new things. They may fail, but you're failing fast, rather than never doing anything ever. So it's more about like continuous experimentations, and if you're failing is okay. So the management needs to, or the leadership need to understand the failing is okay, but the faster you fail and you have your share of learnings, and where you're failing might not be relevant today, but it might be relevant for your future as well. So those kind of things that you need to work upon. So the management need to emphasize that, okay, the team should be okay to experiment. We should leave them to kind of find their own path. We are not there to show them the path. We are, as a leadership, we are there to support where we want to go. So as a leadership, we have got a vision, we have got a goal in mind, and it's for the team to kind of take us there. So if you look at a sample, like a roadmap, like how a non-agile organization up here, can become an agile enterprise. So as we said, we need to kind of grow a culture of experimentation up here. We need to promote a lot of experimentations that the team should be able to kind of do experiments in what they do in and day out. So once that thing is accepted, it's okay to fail. Once everyone understands that and really lives with that, then there's an acceptance for that culture. But definitely there are some roadblocks always there. Once you have gone through that, you've got a new status quo. And once you have formalized that thing, from a simple pilot projects and that kind of thing, you can roll it out to a bigger organization. So how you start is with similar culture in a smaller kind of setup, like a pilot projects and that kind of thing. Jeffrey Moore in his book has Crossing with Chasm has kind of done something similar. He says they are the people like techies or innovators who always come up with new things, like, okay, this is a new idea, this is a bright idea, we should try this kind of a thing. And they always get some kind of a support from early adopters. But where the issue is to cross this chasm. So once they've got enough support in the leadership, enough support from the grounds up, which are the teams and that kind of thing, you can definitely cross this chasm, and then probably life is much smoother from there on. But there are definitely always some skeptics who don't want to kind of get in there. So as a transformation leader or something, probably that is the last thing that you need to work upon. You've got a much bigger task in your organization to kind of take care of, to move or bring the culture, experiment culture in there. So how to approach an agile transformation? I've already spoken a lot about, like, it has to be the leadership. So once you have the executive buy-in, and executive buy-in is not something like, okay, you go and do it, I'm there with you. They need to live that dream with you. So that is what an executive buy-in is called. And then at the same time, you need to bring a basic groundwork support where your teams can be supported by communities of practices, your early adopter teams like the pilot projects and that kind of thing. So once you have a support from the top and you have got a pull from a bottom where people really want to go towards that direction, that is when actually the transformations happen. I've got a couple of organizational patterns that can kind of help you to move into that directions. So some of them could be, so think about like a child, a baby who's born. He takes a couple of months to reach into this stage, probably say 7 to 8 months. So I guess similar time you need to give to your transformations in your organizations. As a leader, you shouldn't be expecting from your team that the transformation happen in a day one. You need to give them enough time to kind of understand what are the basics of what the new change is and how they can work towards that direction. So I guess how a child doesn't crawl on a day one, you need to give few months to your team. It's not going to be happening in a days and a week's time. It has to be a month's time, few months time when you start seeing those results out there in the open. Again, once a child has started crawling, the baby has started crawling, the very next day he is not able to walk. He needs some kind of a support from parents, people around them, who are kind of there, just cordoning, okay, that he doesn't falls up in here and that kind of thing. So the leaders also need to kind of provide that kind of a support that the teams who are just crawling at the moment, they are learning new skills and they are able to walk freely. Definitely as a child always falls couple of times, hurt himself. So you need to give time to your team as well, that you need to allow them to fall sometimes to kind of face that thing, what fall is like. If you are overprotective, that's not going to help them. So you need to be around to support them and you need to let them fall as well. But if you are supporting them well, soon they'll be walking as well. And once they are there, they're kind of like couple of months, they're running and probably making their own destiny. So the same thing, the same life cycle, what a baby is following over here, that happens with the transformation as well. And you, as a leadership or as a leaders, you should be there to support them, hold their hand at times, okay, show them some directions around there, but not enforcing things on them. Today's development model, we are always kind of rushing to push things in production. We want to deliver this, we want to deliver this. This is something that we want to see live tomorrow. That is what we always do. But at times, slowing down is really helpful. And to reflect upon how we are doing well. At times we are, in a release, we are only fixing the defects and creating more defects. So it's just like we are all running very fast, but we are not actually delivering any value in there. So you got to slow down, see how we are heading further, and reflect on that and move from there. So as a leadership, we always say, we want to change, but the first thing that as a leader should be that it's me who has to change, and I need to show them to the audience or show to the whole organization that definitely we can change. So there's a quote from a famous freedom fighter from India, Mahatma Gandhi, that be the change that you wish to see in the world. So unless you are ready to change, you don't change your opinion, you can't force things onto the others. You need to share your vision with the organization, that what exactly you want to do. Is this the agile transformation? What value this transformation holds for you? Why you want to do it? What kind of a benefits you see from it? Couple of examples to share your vision is like elevator pitch. Wherever you're heading, wherever you're going, you can just kind of pitch your ideas to the people. You can arrange town hall meetings. You can be a person who is always approachable and always willing to have people and explain your ideas to them. That okay, this is why we want something. Your office doors should not be closed. They should always be open so that you're always approachable and you're kind of want to engage with the audience. Your attitude is more kind of inspiring. You need to tell them, you need to draw a picture for them that okay, this is something that the futures look like. If you're done with this agile transformation, like couple of examples we have today, like earlier, okay, how long we are working in the evenings and that kind of thing. Okay, agile, we've got a better product, we have got something like we can optimize our working hours or something. You need to show them, that how does the future look like, and once they have a feel, once the people have feel of that, how does the future look like, definitely they'll be onboarded. And seek help. So all this for like one way. When you kind of like seek help from people, it's all about mutual. I'm asking you for help, so it's me and you who grow together. So once you ask someone for help, definitely everyone kind of gives you a lending hand and try to say, okay, I'm there to help you, I'm there to support you. And it's not that you're saying them, okay, this is how you want to do it. I'm asking you for help. Okay, tell me, how can I do this? How can I achieve this? What are different ways to doing this? So over here, when you're asking help from people, it's like all the parties are involved in there. Again, so we always have some kind of a resistance in there. Some people are always busy, doing in their own things that they are doing all the time. So you need to tell them, okay, the organization around them is changing, so you also need to change. So at times it happens in our organization, there are people who are in different silos altogether. They are not aware of what's happening up with us. So I guess you need to speak to them. You need to speak more often, so there's nothing like a over communication. So you need to communicate a lot more with the people. Mythbusters. So a lot of time, people, when you come up with something like, okay, there's a change. So people have their own notions, all their ideas, and we know that, common sense is not common anymore. So you need to tell them often and with the clarity that what does this change means for everyone. So once I know what's in it for me and how does the future look like, I'll be probably much more better enabled to support that change. And at times you need to pick your boxing gloves and kind of get into the battles and see. You need to get into the battles and see how you can bring on board people who are not in there yet. And always you need to have a sense of urgency. We can always say, we want to achieve this, we want to do that, we want to do that. Unless you kind of put some numbers around that, okay, how, when these can be achieved, and or maybe some tangible goals. Until you bring some kind of a sense of urgency in things in there, things are not gonna happen ever. Okay, that's probably from me. I'll open the floor to questions and something. If you have any feedback, I'm around here. Anything that you want to bring up that you have seen working for your transformations, your organization, that is also welcome. Yes, please.
My name is Arora. Currently, I'm working in a company, financial company, which is not yet implementing Agile. What do you think to start developing the organization? Should we train our team so that we can build the DevOps team, the Scrum Master, the product owner, which is the resource are from our current people, or do you think we should hire a Scrum Master from outside of the company? What do you think?
So definitely you need, so the question was, I guess everyone got it, like they're trying to get onto Agile and what approach should be there. So whatever you mentioned, so all those have been tried. So but I think what you need to do is you need to grow your people. So what you can have is like, you need to support your teams with training as well as coaching. Yeah. So trainings will get you the basic etiquettes in there that, okay, how Agile works, how that whole machinery works. And then definitely you need to train your own people along with the help of coaches, maybe which can be hired for a shorter duration from an external body or something. And then probably, but it's all about growing your team who will be working on that product. So ultimately it's them who need to grow. So for short time you can have support from an organization outside yourself, your organization as well. Yeah, does that answer your question? Because you don't have that skill at the moment in your organization. So definitely training is going to help to bring those basic etiquettes in there. But definitely what you need as an organization, so that you're not falling apart and that kind of thing, you need to definitely have some kind of a coaching as well for at least initial few months, so that you start seeing the benefits of actually being Agile and not just doing Agile where you say, okay, I've done a stand-up today, I've done kind of a retrospective, and they're not effective anymore. So that doesn't help. Yeah.
That coach that you're hiring as a coach or as a Scrum Master?
So I guess all these skills you would definitely have in your team as well. You need to have some external to help you identify the people who can perform those roles. Yeah.
So my name is Yogesh from ITBTPN. I just want to add some of your concerns. I think if you're an agile organization and you are looking for a non-agile organization and you're looking to experiment with agile, I think the most important thing would be the executive buy-in, because it really is a from my point of view, I see it like it's really a journey. It's not like you enter into this 2-week training and then actually boom, you're a product owner, or boom, you're a Scrum Master. It really doesn't work like that. And it's really important to have this external expertise like agile coach, DevOps consultants, and etc. etc. So I think, and I think one of the main focus on agile is also on the experimentations. Yeah, if I'm not correct. So I think it's better, say, if to get that executive buy-in, you build like this ring fence, small teams with clear goals for like these 3 months. Let's do agile. We need this resources, and then you present that to your management that say, okay, during these 3 months we have done this, and you actually have a data that shows, okay, this is actually a better way of doing development than what we are used to doing, and then you can work from there. Because otherwise, yeah, like I said, it's just doing. You're just doing the stand-ups, you're just doing the posted things and everything, but it really doesn't change, because it's really a paradigm shift, and I think that's the most important thing. Thank you.
Definitely, can't agree more. Like you need to both have like an executive buy-in as well, and someone who can help you grow those skills in your organization. Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Andrew. I'm from a development company. And currently we are trying to implement Agile in our organization, but we are consisting, our company consists of a few teams. some of the teams are consists of senior developers, while some other are junior developers. And our current challenge is to implement it in junior developers because, as my understanding, Scrum Master is only like a police. He's to accommodate the process, but not involved in the decision making, and that's becoming a problem because previously we used project manager or producer who can make decision for the team. So when there's a deadlock, the producer will decide on what decision is best for the team. But for junior developers, when there are no project manager, the Scrum Master cannot make a decision, and that's becoming a problem for us because the decision will not be good from the junior developers, and we cannot put a producer or project manager alongside with the Scrum Master because that will be too much of investment. Yeah.
So what we kind of promote in Agile is more kind of a conversations around, more communication around. So these kind of things can be always discussed and reached by consensus and having like people speak, what do you feel about it? So when all the parties are involved in conversation, they own that solution, It doesn't mean that, okay, what you are saying is wrong or what I am saying is good. So we are always working towards a one sprint goal, one success of a team, When that feeling is there, we succeed as a team. It's not me as a junior developer who is succeeding, or it's not you as a senior developer who is succeeding. So once you have that feeling, as a Scrum Master, you need to bring those feeling in the teams, So you need to have that conversations along. Does that make sense to you? I guess you want to add something out there.
Yeah, sorry if I'm not clear. The senior developers is not in the same team with the junior developers because we have a few teams, and sometimes the team consists of senior developers. All the members of the team are senior, and some team are fully consists of junior developers. That when the problem occurs. Yeah.
So I guess it's more kind of a technical problem in a nature where you want to groom your junior developers, isn't it? So I guess you need to form structures in a team structure in a way that you have got complete resources within your team. So I guess you need to work upon more kind of how you structure your team itself. And the decision need to be taken by those who are closer to the problem, which is the team itself. Say for example, a senior developer sitting in next team is not supposed to be taking decisions for this team or something like that. So it has to be this team who has to come up with a solution or anything that need to be resolved. It has to be within the team. So unless, if you say like is a junior developer, he doesn't have that skill set. So you need to bring that skill set in the team so that they are able to deliver in an efficient manner. Yeah? Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. I'm Rudy. I'm from one of IT company here in Jakarta. So basically, to implement Scrum or Agile in product development is something very common, right? Everyone try to make it right now. So I tried something a little bit different. I tried to implement the Agile in our sales department team. So it's still starting. It starts from like 2 months ago. What I have done is just like I try to make some teams that contains of cross-functional. So basically, for the sales department, usually they have like the sales team and the one who process the documents and the one who process the configuration, something like that. So I built up a smaller team that consists of that cross-functional team. That so my expectation they can know what others are doing. So it's more transparent for the team. So the achievement of the team become not only for the sales but also for all the teams. So after that, I'm a little bit lost. So I don't know what to do next one because, yeah. So that's my current. If you have any advice for the baby to start walking, thank you.
I guess definitely I can advise you over here, but the advice should be coming from the people who are closest to that thing. So which is the team itself. So some of the things definitely that you as an outside you can talk about is like improving upon your workflow, like how you're saying. So I'm not sure if you're following Scrum, Kanban, or what exactly you're trying to do. So as you're trying to do Kanban, so probably try to see how is like your work in progress going on, what kind of limits you want to kind of optimize your stream, workflow stream, value stream. How well defined is the value stream? Is it just a proto Kanban that you are to do, doing, done, that kind of thing? So those are something that you can look upon. And definitely, I mean, it's more about like team. You need to speak to team at where they see the issues and what can be done better. So that's what Agile is more about, you know, that the one who's closest to the problem is taking those decisions, and not someone who's sitting at the top as a leader or something, who's taking this decisions on the behalf of team. Does that make sense to you? But definitely, if you have more details around the projects, definitely more can be done about it. So I guess I can have this conversation with you after this. Yeah. I guess we have time for one last question, if there is any. Yeah.
My name is Fedian from Mekar, Sampurna Wirausaha. Well, I have a question relation to the one that is the latest one. It's all about cross-functional when you want to implement agile transformation in the organization. Currently, we are working at 10 people around, so it's cross-functional between sales, marketing, and then IT also join, and some legal. But the problem is when we stand up, I have to encourage them every time to become more productive and more take the initiative to give shortened ideas. So it's more on the culture, I think. But I don't know, according to you, maybe your experience on how to tackle that actually, because it seems like they actually know what I say, but in practical, it seems like they are still looking around for what kind of culture they have. I have to be so direct to say to my boss, or I have to wait for the order actually. So that things will destroy the value of agile, because we need to have open transparency and also initiative from the people that are joining the collaboration. So maybe you have some tips or some ideas on that. Thank you.
So as I understand, you're the Scrum Master for the team. Is that correct? Okay, so probably you should be staying away from team for some time to kind of let them solve their own problems, that kind of thing. Bit of appreciation can also help them, you know, when they come up with something. An appreciation definitely helps, and probably that also motivates other to, okay, there's something, you know, that team member has done and that has been applauded for that. So those kind of things in there. And once, like, say for example, they're saying they're waiting for you. So you need to tell them that, okay, it has to be you, and at times you need to be, you know, very verbal about it. You need to take your decision. See, I'm out of it, you know, it's not my business. So it has to be you, today or tomorrow or day after, whatever it is. So when you're ready, you should be taking those decisions. So you need to kind of like, at times you need to be very verbal about it, that, okay, see, this is not my job. It has to be you, it has to come from you, that kind of thing. Some of the ways are these. If anyone has, can add to it, it's okay. All right. All right, thanks everyone. I'll be just around here outside if you have more questions for me. Thank you.